Hello, and welcome to the shoe part of the Ghost Girl class. To start, I'm going to be tracing my pattern pieces onto this 2mm thick craft foam. I'm going to be using black for the sides of the shoe, so this is the back and sides. Once I'm done tracing them, I'll cut them out. Next, I'm going to be cutting my two strips I'm going to be using for my trim around the base of the shoe. Now I'm tracing and cutting my purple piece of felt for the toe. So this is felt, not craft foam for this particular part. You could use either one, felt or foam. I chose this one because the color matches the socks I'm going to be using later very well. I'm going to be using these wood slices that I got from Hobby Lobby. These are 3 inches by 2¼ inches, and alternatively you can just use the pattern, the sole pattern that I provide. You'll just need to use a thick piece of cardboard for the sole and use it the exact same way. I've applied a little bit of hot glue to one end of the wood so that I can start rounding the toe, and I'm taking my purple piece of felt and putting the rounded part onto that wood slice, and I'm just laying those pieces down around the sides. Next, I'm taking a 3/4-11 hex nut. So really 3/4 is what the key is. It's 3/4 of an inch. And I'm applying some hot glue and gluing it into the toe a little bit behind the edge. And I'm going to show you on this one where you can see without the felt being on there. Doing this is going to allow a little extra balance and stability for my ghost girl. And now I'm applying the toe of the shoe again on the other shoe. I like to work on both of my feet at the same time. Now I'm going to begin building the back of the shoe, and then I'm going to add a little bit of polyfill I just used some filling from a pillow into the toe of the shoe to kind of create a fullness so it's not saggy looking. I'm going to continue laying the sides of the shoe down by applying a little bit of hot glue and just laying that craft foam into it, holding it in place until it sets, and then moving on to the other side. Now I'm going to take my shoe and lay it on another piece of craft foam. This is also 2mm thick, and I'm just tracing the bottom of the shoe onto that craft foam, and I'll cut that out. Once I kind of make my lines clean, I'll cut it out and glue it to the bottom of my shoe. Now that I have my material glued in place, I'm going to go ahead and trim any excess material so that it kind of lays more flush against the side. That way when I apply the trim, it lays down very clean. Now I'm taking a piece of my trim material and just kind of pulling on it slightly, stretching it just a little, and then a little dot of glue to the back of my shoe. And I'm going to work my way around my shoe, and you can see I'm laying it on the table and using my table flat surface as a guide to kind of keep my trim real even. Now I'm going to trim off the excess foam and move on to the next shoe. Once I have both of my shoes done, I'm going to go ahead and use my heat gun. You can use your hair dryer also, and just reactivate any hot glue that I see a little bit so that it cleans it up. Once you reactivate it, it will turn that glue clear and you will no longer see it. Now I'm adding a second hex nut to the back of the shoe, and I'm just going to use some hot glue to do that, making sure I lay enough on the surface, and then I'll take my little needle nose pliers and put it right in that glue. Next, I'm adding the dots so that I know where to place my shoestring holes. So I'm going to do that on both shoes. Okay, now I'm ready to thread my shoes, my strings. So I'm just going to tie a little knot at the very end and trim off the excess. I'm going to thread it from the inside out and then go outside in on the other side. And once I get this started, I'm going to go ahead and glue that little piece of thread down in place just so that it's real secure. And then you'll see me work my way up to the top of the shoe. Again, inside first, then over, inside, then over. Now I'm ready to trim off the excess thread, and I'm going to go ahead and glue it inside of my shoe. I'm going to do the same thing on the other shoe, but I'm going to start on the opposite side. Okay, shoes are done and on to the next step.